Yeah. Okay. Now, this is what user mode. Okay. Everybody knows about user mode, right? User exit mode is the mode you see by the time you click on the icon, the device, this device, router, or any device at all. The first one you see is what is the user mode. Can you see user exit mode for the switch also? So let's work on the router first. Now, to move from this user exit mode to the privilege mode, you will use a command called enable. Can you see? These are the options. In case you don't know the command, you don't need to cram it. You see what I did there? I put question mark, then it gives me all the available commands with their description. So whatever command you have here, you read the description, it will tell you what you can use them to do. So in the user exit mode, we have all the commands. Now let's look at the description of what we can use to move to the privilege exit mode. So let's look at it. The first one say 1 to 99. That's the command. But however, what's the description? The description does not actually support what we want to do. What we want to do is to move to the what? Privilege mode. From privilege mode to the global configuration mode, so that we can change the name of the router from being a router to what? R1. Hope you are getting it. Are we getting it? Good. So now, and if you look at this command enable, what does it say? This description says what? It say turn on privileged command. Can you see? So it means that this is the one that we can use to what? To move into a privileged mode. Okay. So what you do, just come here and type enable and press enter. Can you see? What can you see from this first line and this second line? What's the difference? Good. So now this one shows that you are what? You are in user exit mode. By the time you use this command, it takes you to what? To the privileged mode. Okay? And hash symbolizes that you are already in what? In the privilege mode. Okay? Okay? So good. So the next thing, we are now inside the what? The privilege mode. Now we want to move to what? To the configuration mode. So how can we move from privilege to the configuration mode? Look at it. If you don't know the command, just shift question mark. Shift question mark will give you what? The available command again, like we did for the what? For the user. You can do the same thing when you are inside the privilege mode. Ask question, then it will show you the commands and the description. So what we are looking for is, what is the command I can use to move me to what? To the global configuration mode. So let's look at the available commands. The first command does not do that. Second does not. Third and all. If you look at it, let's continue. But however, if you look down here, let's open other commands. We have a lot. Good. These are the commands that we have here. Now let's look at it. To move from privilege mode to what? To the global configuration mode. Can you see the command there called what? Config. What is the description? What's the description? Enter configuration mode. You can see now. So because it is only in configuration mode that you can change the name of what? Any device. Okay, so let's look at that. Configure. Okay, now is that all? Let me press enter and see if that is all what we need to press. No, I don't remove. This is it. When you press enter, it will show you this command. Okay, so now let's assume we don't know what to put next, like we did for the first one, enable, and it takes us to the privilege. Let's assume we only know, okay, it's only configuration command that say we can enter the command. Let me press enter and see if that is all. If you hear what is it saying? It's asking question. That is configuring from terminal or memory or network. So it's asking question, is it from terminal? Meaning that we can configure what? From terminal, from memory, or from network. But in our stead, we are configuring from what? Terminal. Are we together? Are we together? Good. Terminal. Okay, good. So you can type terminal. However, however, we have entered configuration mode, but just hold on. However, instead of you typing configure and press enter and still type in what? Your terminal, you can just go ahead and do this. Let me exit. Exit help us to go a step backward. Okay, it helps us to go what? A step backward. Exit. Can you see it? What do you have here? Excuse me. What do you have here? You can see now we go a step backward. Good. To the privilege mode, not router, to the privilege mode. Good. So now, initially I put configure mode in order to go into what? Configuration mode. And it asks a question, I have to press terminal again. So you don't need to split it into branches like this. You can write it once and for all. So let's try. Since we know that configure we take us to configuration mode, then you put space, terminal. So if you press it this way and press enter, it will move you to what? Configuration mode, as we have initially. Any question? Good. So now let me go back again and explain. Okay, let's start all over again so that we show you how we move. So what mode are we now? Can anyone help me? You can do chorus answer. What mode? Good. So to move from user exit mode to privilege, what do we do? What do we do? Enabled. Good. Press enter. We are inside what? Privilege mode now. So from privilege mode to what? Configuration mode. What can we do? What's the command? No, to move from privilege to configure, then terminal. Good. Press enter. Can you see it now? So now, can somebody help us out? What's the difference between the user exit mode, privilege mode, and configuration mode? Physically, what you can see, what's the difference between them? Analyze. Start from. Okay, bracket open and close. Okay, any other person? Can any other person help us? She has pointed out the config inside the bracket. Exit mode. I can hear you. 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 What's that? Oh, okay. Okay. Is that correct? Any other person? Okay, good. Start all over again. I didn't get you. Yeah, I can hear you now. No, I just want you to explain this thing. Just explain what we have here. What's the difference between this, and this? Which mode is this? Thank you very much. So we now use this command. Okay, this. Good. So what's this one doing? Just say what we have now. Don't shortcut. Just use the full good. Don't worry about the shortcut. Let's be using full thing now. Yeah, good. Okay, good. So what is the difference between them now in config? Mm-hmm. Good. By virtue of this thing you have here. Good. So I believe everybody gets it right. Good. So now we are in the config mode. We want to change the name from router to R1 instead of having full router. We want to change it to R1 like we have in the label R1 here. Okay, good. But we have been given the command to use, which is what? Host name. But the question is, what if we are not given the description, this particular int? We are only asked to change the name. You can do what we've been doing in we did something in when we were in user exec mode. We put question mark, it gives us the available command. So you can do the same thing here to know which command I can use to do or to change the name of this router to R1. So put your question mark. Can you see it now? We have it here. Then let me enlarge this. Good. I believe you can see it, right? Good. So you can see that we have a lot of instruction. Let's say more. We can still click enter to have all the possible commands here. Good, we are done. Now let's scroll up and start from up here. The first command we have here is AAA. AAA does not, the description does not align with what we want to do, isn't it? Isn't it? Are we to good? So it does not align, so we are not using this. So let's be looking at the description and the command. Which one can we use? Bear in mind that we are looking for the command that will help us to change name. Since we are in the configuration mode already, we are looking for a command that will help us to change name. But if you come down here, you will see something regarding this. What's that? Host name. That is, it helps us to set means to assign something. Set system network name. Can you see it? There is no any other command there that can do that for us if you look at it closely. Are we getting it? So in case if you don't know the command, or the command the description is not given as per the commands to be used, you can ask question from that mode you have. So by putting question mark, it will give you everything. Then check the description. So now let's continue. We now know to change the name. What do we use? What command do we use now? Host, right? Host name, right? Are we together? Good. Good. If I press enter, is that all what I need to do? If you don't, okay, this is a command, host. So it expects you to supply something. Or let's assume you don't know that, okay, I need to put something now. You just press enter. What will it do? What do you see there? What's the outcome of that? E say incomplete command. Incomplete command. So meaning that this command is not complete. It expects you to supply other thing. So how can we know what to supply? So this is how to know. After which you know the command to change the name, you can actually ask question again, put question mark at the front of it. So it says what? It expects you to put a word. And what is that word stand for? This system network name. That is, expect you now to supply the name. So what's the name? What's the name we are using? R1. Thank you. That is host name space R1. Capital letter R1. That's it. If you want to use your name, you can use your name. Okay. But what we are asked to use is what? R1. Okay. Then press enter. All right. Okay. So nobody ask question now. We all get it right to this very place, right? Right? Good. Okay. So let's press enter and see. What can you see from here? From the first initial line of code and this next one. What do you have there? Excuse me. Are we together? So you can see that it has changed. But however, it shows me to stop. All right, let's rewrite that. Host name R1. Good. So you can see now we have changed the router to what? To host name. In case you don't like, let's assume you have made mistake regarding the name you are asked to use. You can just write the command again and type the name. Okay. Can you see? Are we together? Good. So host name R1. That's what we are asked to do. So we have successfully what? Answered the first the first question. Okay, we still have what? For the switch, right? For the switch, right? Are we together? Good. So all right, okay. So your classwork now is to change the name of the switch to SW1. So what you do, I want you to open your own lab and change it. The one I change it, and also change the switch also. Go to do the same thing. Change this name to WSW1. Do you get me? Are we doing it now? Are we doing it now? Don't worry. If you don't have it, don't worry. For those who have it, are you doing it now? Okay, yeah, do it. Then when you have done, you screenshot and send to me. Don't worry, we will see tomorrow by God's grace early in the morning, right? Yeah, so that you can use the system, okay? All right. Okay, concept of programming. Yes, of course, we are. Yeah, they are independent. They are mutually independent. Yes, yes. I think the our course rep supposed to do that for us. Maybe you can just drop that suggestion on on our group chat. Are we through? The person that is helping us to create the link, don't forget. You've done it. You send it. Mm. All right, good. All right, good. All right. So we can continue now. We're all able to change the name, right? So we can say now that we can answer question number one now. Okay, let's move to question number two. Question mark. Question mark. We use question mark. This is it. Yes, to know. This is it. If you don't know what you need to supply later, you can just put question mark. It will tell you what is expecting from you. Yes. So it will tell you what it's expecting so that you know what to supply. So that's what gives us the insight to this. Okay. But you have done the switch, right? You have changed the name. Good. All right. Now let's move to the second instruction. The second instruction says what? Configure an unencrypted what? Enable password. So they give us the value of that password, which is what? Computer on both devices. Meaning on router and on switch. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to do that on router, then you still practice the same. You do the router and the switch as well as your classwork. All right, let's go. How do we configure, where, in what mode can we configure password? Anytime you hear the word, excuse me, anytime you hear the word configure, based in the domain of packet tracer or networking, what should come to your mind is that the only mode that can allow you to set anything or configure anything is global configuration mode. Okay. Okay. So that is why you need to know how to navigate your way from user exec to privilege mode down to the global configuration mode. Okay. Good. Now let's configure the unencrypted password. So we are in global exec mode. Let me still go back and come from the user exec mode, that you still see the process again. We are in the user exec mode. Let's move to the privilege. So we know that enable takes us to what? Privilege mode, isn't it? Yes, good. So you can use short form of enable. En is the short form of what? The short of what? Of enable. So you can use en. En means enable. Can you see? It does the same thing as enable in full. Are we getting it now? Well, good. Exit. Yeah, that helps us to go back, a step backward. That's what it does. It takes us back. You can ask a question, you can say it here, is here, exit. What does it do? You say exit from the word exec. So if you are in global configuration mode and you use exit, it takes you back to what? Privilege mode. A, a step backward, and from privilege to user exec. So so we have entered the privilege mode. Let's enter the word, the configuration mode. Configuration mode too, we use this and terminal, isn't it? Right? Are we together? Good. So you don't need to write the configuration in full. You can just say config, or better still, conf. But let's make it more config. So for config T, instead of writing terminal or typing the old terminal, you can just say T. It does the same thing as terminal. Let's press enter. Can you see now? We are here. So we want to see the command that we can use to set our password. Let me enlarge this. So from the first one cannot help us to do that. So let's scroll down and see the command we can use to set that. Okay, we have crypto. So if you look at this, we have security, we have secured, and we have, let me say, enable. Okay, let's see the enable. Can you see enable here too on in configuration mode, global configuration mode? Enable in global configuration mode helps us to modify password, password parameter. Can you see that from the description? So it means we are going to be using enable to set password for this particular router. Okay, now let's type that. I believe you can see my screen, right? Yes. So let's ask a question. So we've written enable, yet we don't know what to put next. So let's put a question mark. So the question mark, what do you have here? Can somebody help us out with the options we have here? It shows that this enable takes one parameter, or we call it argument. It takes one argument. It could either be password or secret. Secret or password, isn't it? So if you look at the description of the password, what do we have here? It say what? Assign what? A privilege level password. And why the second one say assigned what? Privilege level secret. But in our stead, we are asked to add what? Password, not secret yet. Okay. So let's go. So the instruction say configure an unencrypted enable password. Okay, so meaning that after enable command we are choosing this argument password. So let's put password. Good. So let's assume we don't still know what to put next. You can equally ask question, but because as it is now, if you press enter, it's going to set, it's going to give you what? It's going to give you um incomplete command. Can you see it now? It's going to give you that incomplete command. So how do we know what to put next? Put your question mark to ask question. If you don't know what to put next, put question mark. Now, having put the question mark, it tells us that what? It gives us 7. 7. Don't worry, you're going to know what this 7 is doing here. So 7. So it expects us to supply what? The password. This is the line. The password. That's, can you see? Unencrypted what? Plain. Can you see? Clean, clear text or plain text and all. So, and that is what we are asked to do. And the value to use is what? Computer. Okay, this is what we are giving computer. So let's try that. Capital letter. So we have what? Enable password computer. So let's press enter and say good. So no, it shows that you have what? Successfully set the password that you are asked to do. So how do we know that we have successfully set our password? So let's go back to the user. Any question before we go back to the user exit mode? Any question? Okay. Yes, this one. Good. Okay, this particular line, right? Okay, this line. Okay, the line is the word. Can you see? Is the text is expected of you. So you supply that line. Okay. Yes. Okay, this line is like a variable. Okay, and that variable means like word, the password you want to set. You get the value of the password you want to set. That's what it means. You can read this, say unencrypted password. So this is the password. This is the value of the line we are talking about here. Okay, and this particular password, it makes use of, we are going to see why this 7 later. Don't let me rush you. All right, let's go. Let me do something. Okay, okay, I will show you. I will show you how we got there. So any other question for this one? No question, right? So I don't really need this one, but I'm doing this because of many of us that we don't know the command. Okay, by the time we are doing other one now, I believe everybody must have been familiar with the commands. Okay, so we're not going to be asking question again, what can I use, what can I use? Okay, but however, if you still want to be doing that, you can do it to know more about the commands. Okay, so now we use this, right? We use this is the right command to be used to change to answer this particular question number 2, to set an unencrypted password. Okay, now let me show you something. The question somebody just asked, now how did we get into this mode? Okay, let me explain. So, and my explanation is going to be uh, a question for those who actually know how we got into that place. All right, now we have set the password, right? Don't forget, the first time we came into this user mode, moving into privilege mode, it didn't ask us for password, right? But let's look at what will happen now. Now, I will use this to answer the question somebody asked. Okay, now to go into, this is the user exit mode. These are the three basic mode that we are going to be working with based on this lab 2, right? So pay attention now. So the first mode we find ourselves at the very initial stage, we click on the CLI, is called what? Is called user exit mode. Okay, now to move from user to exit mode to the privilege mode, we use a command called what? Enabled. So enable moves us from user exit mode to privilege exit mode. Is that understood? Okay, good. Let me close it. That stuff, right? That pop up. Okay, what you need to do, we are working on router, right? So what I did is I clicked on this particular router, on the right router icon. Can you see this router? So by the time you click on it, it will give you this dialog box. An initial option will be physical. Then when you have the physical, you can now come here. We have four options. Can you see? We have config, we have CLI, we have attribute. So click on CLI. So it's the CLI that gives you this interface. Okay. So now moving from user, now where we are now is called what? User exit mode. Are we together? Are we together? The person that asked question, that asked me the question, I'm working with you now. Okay. So now this user, to move from the user to the privilege, you use enable. So press enter. Can you see now? We can't go, initially we're just moving into one mode to the other without what? The password. But now we have set a password on this router. So nobody can go in except you have the password. So now the password we use is what? Computer, capital letter, right? So but it won't show you. But just know that whatsoever thing you are typing is actually the computer is receiving your input, but it will not show to for the security purposes. It will not show. So now I've typed computer. Now let me press enter. Capital letter computer, the way we were given here. So let's press enter. What do you have? It shows that the password I enter is correct. So I move to what? Privileged mode. Hope you are getting it. Hope you are getting it. Any question? Any question? Any question? Can we continue? Yeah, okay. So you are good now, right? Good. So from the user exit mode, we move using enable to the what? To the privilege mode. This is privilege mode. Anytime you see hash and the name of the device with hash is what? Privilege mode. Good. Now, to move to the configuration mode, is you will use configure terminal. Okay? Terminal. Okay? But however, instead of you typing configure, you can shorten it to config. Are you getting it? Config terminal will still lead you to configuration, global configuration mode. But you don't equally need to type the whole terminal. You can just put T. So short form of terminal. It recognizes T as what? Terminal. So it will still take you to what? To the global configuration mode. So we have three modes now. From user, if you look at what we have here, from user to privilege down to what? Down to the global configuration mode. Okay, good. And I'm going back to the password now because I'm going to give you classwork now. I've done my own part. That's number two. Instruction number two. Say configure what? Configure an unencrypted enable password, which I have done. I just want to walk you through again through the step. So inside display we use enable because enable enables us to set the password. Somebody might want to ask, how do I know that is enable? Just put question mark. Once you put question mark, you will see the available command inside this what? Configuration mode. So you can see the command we have here. So the description of each command will tell you which one to use. Our concern is to change the password, but which of these command talked about password here? Let's look at the description. This one talk about authorization wherever. We are using the word password. Let's see. Is anyone here? Anyone here? Anyone here? No, no, no. We don't say, okay, this one talked about password. Yeah. Enable talked about what? Password. Enable what? Modify enable password. Meaning that by default, the password is empty. Is empty string. So it means that we can now edit, modify it from being empty to what? To a value. Okay, that is why we use that. So let's go down. So now since we know that we can use enable, then what does the enable expect? After enable, if I press enter enable, it will ask question. It say incomplete what? Command. It means it's asking us for something. But if you don't know it, just put space in between. After the enable, put space and put question mark. It will tell you what is expecting from you. So it's expecting either password argument or secret argument. But however, based on the instruction we have in this number two, we have to set what? The password, not secret yet. We are going to work on secret too, but this one is what? Password. So let's look at it. Then you type in password. So let me press enter. If I'm done, can you see? It shows that incomplete what? Command. That is asking me, is expecting another value to be added. Okay. So how do I know? I put space again, question mark, put question mark, then it will tell you what it's expecting from you. And as you can see, we have what? 7. We have another command. This is an argument. Actually, this also is an argument. That argument is like a variable, where to put your what? The value of your password and the level of the password. Okay, good. But however, if you look at this statement, what is it saying? It say what? Unencrypted enable password, and that is what we are asked to do, to set what? To configure an unencrypted what? Enable password, and the value of the password here is what? Computer. So that's what that bring about me putting what? Enable password. So if you want to set for the switch now, look at it. Enable password what? Computer, capital letter, the way it is in the question here. If it is small letter, you write small letter. If it is capital letter, they give you, you write it. Okay. If they put alphanumeric, you put it. Okay. So any question now? Any question? So Now you will press enter automatically. You said I've done it before, but if I still press enter, it will still it will still show password. So I just show you the step now. So any question? Let's talk. Any question? No question or there is. So if there is no question, please configure an unencrypted enable password computer on the switch. So you to do it on the switch here. So can you do it for the switch? I can't hear anyone. Are we through? Good. You can send it. Or one of us can now set unencrypted password for the router now, right? Good. Okay, exit, exit, exit. So edit. No, don't worry, don't worry. Okay, share your share your screen. Unencrypted password and also encrypt the password. I believe we can do from 1 to 6 now, right? Is that correct? Good. Now, number 7 now says we should configure a more secure encrypted enable password of MSC 2024 on both devices. They are referring to which devices? This and this, these two devices, router and switch. So let's do that. Let's set the secure password, and the value of that password is this. Okay. Now it's supposed to show now. Good. Yeah. I want it to be like this. Yeah. So we are to number 7. Configure a more secured encrypted enable password, and this is it. So I believe we all know where to configure. When you hear the word configure or set, you should always think of global configuration mode. Okay, so let's go to global configuration mode. Sorry. All right now. So let's set. We are in the. Everybody know how we got here, right? Happy. So we want to set a secured one, number 7. So what do we use? It's still enable, right? It's the enable we use. Don't forget, we use enable password and the computer at that time, right? Something of this nature to set unencrypted password, right? Okay, how we got here, right? Okay, let me go back from this place. So this is what user. This is where we are going from this place we are to this place. So to move from this place, that we use enable, then computer, then we use config t. So that here we have, okay, configuration mode. So let's set the password. We use enable. You might want to ask how do I know that it's enable? You can put a question mark to see it. So question mark will give you all the available commands. Then we from the description we have here, we see that is what is enable that can help us what with modification of what password parameter. And I told you by default, any device on the network is the password is what is set to be none, like empty string. Okay, but if you want to change this to a value, you modify. In that step you call it modification or update or set, something of that nature, right? So that's the term used there. So they use enable. Where is it again? Yeah, can you see modify enable password parameter? Now to do that, let's now write, since we know that correct um enable is the correct word or command. Let me see. I'm going to increase this one because my, yeah, good. We've seen that enable is the correct command, and we don't know what to add at the back of it. You can put question mark. It will tell you is it password or secure. So which one are we using based on number 7 question? they say secure, right? That's secret, okay? So secret, and you can read from here. Secret is what? To give a level of, security to that, okay? Now, secure, then let's assume we don't know what to supply again. Let's put question mark. What do you see here? Can you see? You say under after secure, we can pass a value of 0, 5, line, and all. And I told you this 5 is like a variable, a memory space to keep the value of your password, of your secret. Okay. Now, it says what? We are entering secret value. So what value are we supplying? MSC. Excluding quotes. Don't put. All right. So MSC 2024. Can you see it now? So this is what we are asked to do using secret. That's most secured according to this. They say encrypted enable password. Let's press enter and see what will happen. What do you see now? No, it shows that it works fine, right? It's working fine. And now two things should come to your mind. Now we have password, we have secret, so both of them are password. Well, it's just that the encryption algorithm is different from one. They have different encryption algorithm. One makes use of MD5. So secret makes use of MD5. I told you about that number 7, that don't forget about that 7. You will still use it. We ask question regarding that from this exercise we are doing now. Now, this one uses MD5 to encrypt. People that are programmer, that into web development, they will know about this guy very well. They normally use it to encrypt password when you are signing up on website. So they use it to encrypt. So it gives you a value of like hash value. Hash value could be hexadecimal value that is very long. I think 128 bits or thereabout. It's very string, long string. So it gives you that. So now let's now see if it's working. They say we should do what? Number 8. We have done number 7, right? We have done what we are asked to do, which is this. We use secret for secured password. Okay. So 8 now say we should exit back to what? User exit mode, and then return. Look at the instruction. No, let me remove this guy. They say what? Okay, I'm with you. Yes. No, it won't be part of the command, but don't worry, I will explain the 5. It's just part of the thing that can be used. You can specify 5, you can specify, you can see, okay? So you can specify, you can put in between. When I was showing you something initially, something of this nature, can you see? Meaning you can tell them the type of algorithm you want to use to encrypt your this thing. So you still see the meaning of that 7. You will see it from the question. Just now 7 says what? Yeah, 8 now says what? We have done number 7 that say we should convert it, which is this. We have configured that. Then right? Number 8 now says exit back to what? User exit mode. How do we do that? We use the word exit, right? 1, that's a step backward. 2. So we are now in what? In the user exit mode. Now, what's the next instruction? They now say then returns to privilege exit mode. How do we return to the user privilege mode? Enable. So, but it's asking us for what? Password. So who can try? Which of the password are we going to use to enter the privilege? Is a new password. Very good, because it overrides the initial one. So it's a new password. If you enter, let me enter computer, you will see what it's going to say. Can you see? It's asking me for password, and I've entered the right computer password, but it says no. So it means that we have to supply the new one, which is MSC. Can you see now? MSC is the right password. They might ask you a question, which is the okay. I think they asked question here. Yeah, let's look at that question here. They say, so we went back to the user exit mode. Then we return back to the privilege, supplying the password. Then they now ask question, which password do you have to use? So we use the second password, the current password, which is MSC 2024. Okay. Now, number 9. Before we go to number 9, do that on your switch as well. Do that and view it and tell me what you use. Can you go ahead and do that? So I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Next one. Are we through? All right. Are we there? Are we there? All right. So now if I ask you to do from 1 to 8 now, you can do it now without any assistance. Okay, good. Now, number 9. Number 9 now asks question. You can ask the reason why I say you should put that particular number in mind. Now, the 9 says view the password in the running config. I know you can do it now, right? Let's run it. Let's see. Let me go. Let's see it here. To show the running config, we do that inside what? Privilege mode. And we are inside the privilege mode already. So let's just show run. Don't forget, it means running config. Okay. If you don't know the shortcut, you can still use this one. Fine, good. Okay, let's run it. Can you see it now? How many passwords do we have here? 2 password. How many can you see? We now enable secret. You need, by default we did not put the number 5, but it does that for us automatically, meaning that whenever you are using secret, the default encryption algorithm that that particular stuff is using is what is MD5. Okay, and you can see now it gives you an hash value. Okay, now you will see that this one also was assigned to the this one. When we encrypted that computer, it uses this particular key, so it has a name. It's called encryption type number. Okay, encryption what? Type number. So this one encryption type number is 5, this one is 7. And of course, if you look at the configuration, current configuration memory size now is now what? 771 bytes. Okay, if I want to convert this one to bits, how many bits is that? Multiply by 3, multiply by 8 rather. If you multiply it by 8, it will give you x value bits. Okay, it's not going to be byte. You know, byte is 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Okay, good. So you can check other information regarding that. So any question from this place now? Right. So we need this to answer the last question actually. So look at it, and I will be asking you, answer me, or I will ask question, you ask me. The first question, they say we should use the password in the running config, which we have done using this command, right? Show running config. So they now ask question that what encryption type number is used for the encrypted enable password? Who will answer that? The first question, yeah. 7. Good. 7. Okay. So now the second question, since it's now, what encryption type number is used for the encrypted enable secret? 5. So what algorithm do they use for this secret? MD5. Good. It's been a while. Okay, can you see now? MD5 hashes are commonly used with, can you see, smaller string when storing password. Okay. Are we together? So we are done with lab 2. Any question? No question. So do number 8 now. Do it for the switch. You know I'm doing it only for router, so you can replicate the same on switch as well. So when you are done, let me know so that we can move to lab 3. We are done with this.